The story WWE sold you is simple.
Charlotte Flair is going to...
Charlotte Flair was the genetically superior athlete, destined for greatness from day one. They told you she was born to be a queen, but that's the on-camera narrative. The real story, the one built on quiet power plays and ruthlessly protected booking, is far more calculated.
Charlotte! That cartwheel clothesline!
In this video, we're exposing the backstage blueprint that guaranteed Charlotte Flair's fame and how her father's legacy was both a blessing and a weaponized narrative tool. From the moment she stepped into a WWE ring, the plan was already in motion. She was Ashley Flair, the daughter of the legendary Ric Flair, but the name on the screen was just Charlotte. It was a deliberate choice, an attempt to make it look like she could stand on her own. But let's be honest, every step of her journey was shadowed by that legacy. A legacy WWE would leverage and manipulate to construct the most decorated female superstar in its history. This isn't the story of a daughter following in her father's footsteps. This is the story of how WWE built an empire around a queen, using a blueprint of protected booking, manufactured moments, and strategic sacrifices that say more about the machine than the monarch herself. But before we get into the specifics, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next breakdown of wrestling's biggest secrets. The blueprint, more than just a name. To understand the architecture of Charlotte's career, you have to go back to the beginning, to NXT. When she debuted in 2013, the genetically superior tagline was immediately plastered onto her. It was perfect marketing shorthand. It told the audience, she's Ric Flair's daughter, and she's a real athlete, not like the models of the past. Her volleyball background was mentioned constantly, framing her as the total package from day one. There was no underdog story here. She was presented as preformed, a champion in waiting. The company didn't just hope she'd succeed, they engineered the conditions for it. The clearest evidence came at NXT TakeOver in May 2014. Charlotte was in a tournament final for the NXT Women's Championship against Natalya. To complete the picture, Ric Flair was in her corner, and Bret Hart was in Natalya's. This wasn't just a match. It was a carefully staged coronation. By having Charlotte win, WWE wasn't just crowning a champion.
Here is your winner and new NXT Women's Champion!
They were symbolically declaring the Flair legacy as the dominant force for the new generation. The match was great, proving she had the skills to back it up. But the circumstances around it were pure narrative engineering, designed from the start to anoint her as the chosen one. This period also gave us the four horsewomen: Charlotte, Sasha, Bayley, and Becky. But while WWE promoted them as pillars of a new era, there was always a quiet hierarchy. Charlotte was presented as the powerhouse, the one with the championship DNA. While the others had their roles, Charlotte was booked with an aura of inevitability. She was the cornerstone the women's revolution would be built on. Her NXT run was the test run, a blueprint that solidified in the audience's mind that she was born for the top. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy, written and produced by WWE. On July 13, 2015, that prophecy went live on Raw. Stephanie McMahon declared a Divas Revolution, introducing Charlotte, Becky, and Sasha. But from the very beginning, the spotlight shined brighter on one of them. While Becky and Sasha were put in factions, Charlotte was immediately pushed as the main hero to take down the Bella twins. The booking was clear. She was the one to carry the banner. The secret here wasn't just the push, it was the speed of it. Just 2 months after her debut, she won the Divas Championship. Her father was there to celebrate, a visual callback to NXT, reinforcing the theme of destiny. She was also booked to be the final Divas champion. At WrestleMania 32, a new WWE Women's Championship was unveiled. Charlotte won it, becoming the inaugural champion. The message was unmistakable. Charlotte was the revolution. She was the bridge chosen to carry a division reborn, The foundation was laid, the blueprint was executed, and the queen was on her throne. But the very perfection of this plan would soon expose the architect's hand. The turning point. The architect's hand becomes visible. Every flawless plan eventually shows the hand of its creator. For Charlotte, this happened in 2016 through a series of booking decisions that made the design impossible to ignore. This is where, destined for greatness, started to look a lot like forced dominance. The first sign was her feud with Sasha Banks. Throughout late 2016, the Raw Women's Championship became a hot potato between them. They main evented Raw. They competed in the first ever Women's Hell in a Cell, which also main evented a pay-per-view. On the surface, it looked like a legendary rivalry between equals. But the secret behind the booking told a different story. The title, she was booked as unbeatable in PP5 singles matches, reaching 16-0. This tactic had a clear detrimental effect on Sasha Banks, who, despite her popularity, was conditioned to look like a transitional champion who couldn't win the big one. The second turning point was a calculated move to sever her biggest connection, her father. In May 2016, Charlotte brutally turned on Ric Flair. She told him she didn't need him and kicked him out of the ring. It was a cold, vicious heel turn. Backstage, this was a necessary power play. WWE knew that for her to be the queen, she couldn't just be Ric Flair's daughter. By rejecting him, she was symbolically rejecting the idea she was riding his coattails. It was a masterful, if ruthless, piece of character work that stripped away her safety net. Finally, the streak itself became the story. When it was finally broken by Bayley at Fastlane in 2017, it was treated as a monumental moment. But even in defeat, Charlotte was protected. The loss only happened because Sasha Banks interfered, implying Bayley couldn't do it on her own. This pattern of protected losses became a hallmark of her booking. These moments pulled back the curtain. This was no longer just an athlete's rise. It was a clear look at WWE's star-making machine at work, crafting a dominant champion, even if it meant sacrificing the momentum of other top stars. What did you think of the hot potato title changes and the PPV streak? Let us know below, because the next phase of her career is where the story becomes all about the numbers. The architect's design, building the record books. With the foundation set, WWE entered the next phase, systematically cementing Charlotte's legacy by hitting statistical milestones. This was where booking became less about story and more about padding a resume to make her the most accomplished woman in WWE history on paper. The first and most controversial moment came at WrestleMania 34 in 2018. Asuka was on a massive undefeated streak. She won the first Women's Royal Rumble and chose to face SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte. Most assumed Asuka would win. Instead, in a move that shocked the wrestling world, Charlotte made Asuka tap out, ending the streak clean in the middle of the ring. The backstage logic was that a streak is only as valuable as the person who breaks it. In WWE's eyes, sacrificing Asuka's once-in-a-generation aura was a price worth paying to give Charlotte another legendary notch on her belt. The decision arguably derailed Asuka's momentum for years, all to solidify Charlotte's spot at the top. A year later, at WrestleMania 35, the architect's hand was even more visible. The hottest act in the company was Becky Lynch. The money match was Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. But instead of letting that story play out, WWE made a contentious call. They shoehorned Charlotte into the match, making it a triple threat. Fans criticized the move, feeling she was inserted into a story that wasn't hers, just so she could claim a spot in the first ever women's WrestleMania main event. Then, just weeks before the show, Charlotte beat Asuka for the SmackDown title on a random SmackDown, making the main event winner-take-all. Becky Lynch ultimately won, but Charlotte was protected again. She wasn't the one who got pinned. This era was also defined by a booking pattern that felt designed purely to inflate her championship stats. She would move between Raw and SmackDown, get inserted straight into title pictures, and rack up a record number of title reigns that were often short and interchangeable. The most infamous example came in October 2021, when Raw champion Charlotte was drafted to SmackDown, and SmackDown champion Becky Lynch was drafted to Raw. Their solution? A notoriously awkward in-ring segment where they just swapped the belts. The moment, which reportedly led to a real backstage confrontation, laid bare the manufactured nature of it all. The titles had become props, tools to move a top star between brands. Through it all, the goal was clear: build a resume so padded that her status as the greatest would be statistically undeniable. The Queen's reign, a legacy by design. So what is the real legacy of Charlotte Flair? Is she the transcendent talent she was billed to be? Or is she the product of the most protected, deliberately engineered push in women's wrestling history? The secret is, she's both. Charlotte Flair is a phenomenal athlete and a reliable big match performer. Her work ethic is undeniable. But that talent is only half the story. The other half is a story of meticulous, often ruthless, booking by a company that identified its next tentpole star and then systematically cleared her path to the top. They didn't just give her opportunities, they manufactured them. They sacrificed Asuka's streak. They shoehorned her into a historic main event. They played hot potato with championships to inflate her title count to a record-breaking 14 World Championship reigns. As of today, she's also a two-time Triple Crown and two-time Grand Slam champion, a feat no other woman has accomplished. Each achievement was another brick in a monument designed by the stroke of a booker's pen. Her career is now perpetually linked to chasing her father's hallowed record of 16 world titles, a built-in storyline that ensures she remains at the top of the card for years. Her rise reveals the biggest secret of all. In WWE, greatness is a partnership between undeniable talent and the full, unwavering force of the corporate machine. Charlotte's legacy wasn't just inherited, it was constructed, piece by piece. She is the Queen, and her reign, for better or for worse, was by design. But what do you think? Is Charlotte Flair the greatest of all time, or is her record a product of preferential booking? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more in-depth analysis of modern wrestling history, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.